909 in Studio is brought to you by 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City. To find out how you can become a sustaining member or to donate, go to bridge909.org. You know, this is a band that we've played on the air a lot, and we've had occasional interactions with the band, but they've given us a lot of reasons here lately to have them in and do the big interview and the big in-studio session. So Hembree today in our studios, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us, John.
So Isaac, you've got the full band here. You want to just start things off with letting us know who's playing today?
Yes, absolutely. So this is Eric Davis on the keys. We've got Alex Ward on the guitar, brother Austin Ward on the drums, and Garrett Childers over here on the bass.
So now you and Garrett have known each other, like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of decided that you were going to be in a band together in 6th grade?
That's correct, yeah. Once we played Smells Like...
Our moms kind of decided.
Yeah, our moms decided it.
Really?
Bunch of mama's boys.
Yeah.
Wow. So your moms, because normally moms are the ones saying, oh, no, you're not going to be in a band.
We got rock and roll moms, John.
Wow. I'm off my game now. I'm completely blown. That's shocking.
But yeah, I mean, once we jammed Smells Like Teen Spirit about 75 times in my basement, I think we knew it was destiny.
Yeah, so like when you two were in 6th grade, I mean, 6th grade boys, things go wrong. Which one of you got the most blame for being the corrupting influence?
Actually,
Because it's always the other kid.
Well, Garrett was actually, he's 2 years older than me, so he was the only friend that was like a positive. I had other positive influences, obviously, but Garrett was always seen as like a positive influence. Were you? You were pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, we were pretty good kids, actually. You know. I mean,
Yeah.
But he, when we were in high, or he was in high school and I was in junior high, it was so awesome because he had a car. It's like we were dating or something. He had a car. He could drive me around.
Well, and I lived in Kansas City, and Isaac lived in Lawrence, so I could like drive up to Lawrence, and Lawrence was like the cool college town, and so he brought some coolness to the table too. He just didn't know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of cool.
Yeah. So, you know, fast forward a few years, you know, you're at KU, and it's like things are starting to develop, you know, with different people. You're starting to make friends, and Quiet Corral happens.
Right. Yeah, well, that was also me having to become cool enough to play in a band with Garrett because I was in high school and he was in college. So I had to get to college. Once I got to college, we started Quiet Corral and roped some folks into it, roped Eric into it, and had no idea what we were doing, but we learned a lot over the course of about 3 years.
You know, your parents had Mass Street Music in Lawrence. And my understanding is you had a home studio at your house.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so when you were in Lawrence, you also helped start a studio or were hanging out a lot or at the art house.
Right. That's, yeah, our friend Jim, who played drums with us for quite a while, and still is a great bud and works on stuff with us. Him and I were running a recording studio together. Once again, I don't know how I was put in the position to run a studio. I was like 19. But so I was hanging out at a studio a lot, and I think I was taking advantage of it to make my own songs, but also maybe learning how to run a business.
Well, I imagine that the answer to how you ended up doing that is you were probably quite cheap.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I think I was given a stake in the ownership, but I found out that recording studios don't make a lot of money, so it's very cheap.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come back and talk more about some of the whole studio rat thing.
Absolutely, man.
Because I think that's really sort of an interesting undercurrent that's sort of gone through the band. But in the meantime, you're standing there with your instruments, and I know people would love to hear some
Might as well
music
play
if
something.
we could. Yeah.
Absolutely. This song is called Continents.
I used to feel
Hembree live in the Bridge Studios today. That's got that song is now got an affiliation that I'm not sure that I understand.
We didn't quite understand it as well, but it's a cool opportunity. So it's coming out, or it just came out with a French record label called Kitsune, and that is also a French clothing line, and they're releasing a compilation album with the NBA.
Yeah, that's the part.
Still
that
trying to wrap your head around that one.
Yeah. But a great song, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels good to get that one out into the world, and yeah, it's cool because it's our first like international exposure, and they do have a kind of a large bandwidth in France. So who knows? Maybe someday we'll be over in France. That would be pretty legit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't need to talk about divorces here. And this is the last time I'm going to mention them, but
we're still together.
But Quiet Corral worked really hard for a period of years, and then all of a sudden it's like it's over, and just sort of like looking at like squinting and just sort of see the big picture. The thing that I always have thought is, well, Hembree rises like a phoenix from the ashes of Quiet Corral. But in that moment, y'all didn't know what to do.
Correct. Yeah. I remember talking to Sarah Bradshaw from The Bridge. I think she had called me right when you guys were first starting these in studios, and she was like, hey, we want Quiet Corral to come in. I was like, well, Quiet Corral's over, Sarah. Yeah, we were pretty devastated at that point in time. And then in retrospect, it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me and for all of us, really. I wasn't really writing songs or anything. I was kind of bringing ideas to the table, but definitely not full melody, lyrics, everything like that. And so I kind of found out what I wanted to do with my life by that band ending. So I'm actually thankful for it. But at that point in time, yeah, it was definitely pretty crushed.
It seemed like you almost had to go through a process of rediscovering the joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And realizing that being in a band is fun. And Alex reminds us before every show, regardless of the show, we could be playing in Cleveland for like 7 people. And he's like, remember, guys, this is fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun. Yeah, no, it was definitely rediscovering the joy of playing in a band and working in the studio and making music, for sure.
As you start to go out and get more interviews, I think the one story that you're going to get really tired of telling is the one where you started doing some demos and you made a demo and took it in and played it for the band.
Correct. Yeah. People didn't know who was singing, and I remember just getting like emails back like, "This you?" ? I was like, yeah, it's me. And at one point, I really wanted Garrett. He's an amazing singer, so I wanted Garrett to sing lead, but it just kind of worked out that I was writing the tunes, and I don't know how I'm standing here, but I ended up getting the gig, I suppose.
Well, the nice thing, you referenced Garrett's vocals, and there are a lot of times when you two are like singing together, and it's like really in sync, and it's really beautiful, and the voices meld. So,
thank you, John.
Every piece of the band. So they don't recognize your voice. You end up fronting a band for the first time, and then you started getting more serious, and you actually sort of, you tracked some things for initial music. Then you went away to Austin, Texas,
right,
for like 3 months, and then when you came back, fresh ears.
Fresh ears for sure. Maybe too fresh. You start second guessing what you've made, and everyone does it. Maybe. Too many revisions, but yeah, that fresh perspective was nice. And then really realizing what we wanted to do as a band and really what the band was going to be and who was going to be in it and everything like that.
So some of that work, my understanding is some of that work survived into the Had It All EP.
Yeah, the first EP that we did kind of dissolved and disappeared just because we were still growing and figuring out what we wanted to be, and it was kind of like the bridge from Quiet Corral to get to Hembree. That first EP was, and I know people in Kansas City are kind of the only people that know about it.
Right, we still play it.
Yeah, exactly. So like only a few people know about it, but even at our last show, someone was yelling for us to play one of those old tunes, and maybe we'll bring them back someday. There's still some good ideas there for sure.
So this is one of the things that I really kind of wanted to get around to with the whole studio rat thing, because, you've always had access to a home studio and you've always been comfortable I think you'd be comfortable recording in a broom closet. You probably have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know,
just backstage, we were just making a new demo.
Yeah. But you know, for the Had It All EP, you know, you got some heavy hitters, brought in some guns to help you with the production side and the mixing.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Hillman is a great friend of ours now, and he also kind of works in a home studio space, and him and I just hit it off. He plays in a band called Foreign Fields, and he really helped me and the rest of us just kind of find that identity that we were kind of searching for in that blend of, modern rock music, but also with that electronic twist and everything like that. So we've got him on board, and he's just been such a crucial part of the team. And then this mix engineer, Joe Vishano, who has worked, he's worked on everything. It's crazy. He's like, I was hanging out with Bono one night.
Artists that are kind of similar, like Beck.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Who I named my dog after, by the way. I do love some Beck.
And then a little bit later on, you also got involved with Chris Cody, who's worked with Beach House, Future Islands.
Right.
Yes. And you know, when I'm reading this, it's sort of like, this is the problem that you have being a Kansas City band. You know, normally I would just say, hey, you know, worked with this guy. But it's like, how, being from Kansas City, it's like, how did you meet these people? How did you make those connections? It's crazy.
Yeah, just through, being fortunate enough to have good management and stuff like that, and just trying to pair us up with the right people. But yeah, we were, admittedly, we went out to Sunset Sound to record, and it was like recording in a rock and roll museum, and it was almost overwhelming because they'd be like, that room over there is the last room that the last time all four of the Beatles were together in one room. Over there's where Jim Morrison's echo chamber is. Like Van Halen cut the eruption solo over there. Anyway, do you want to do your vocals into Prince's microphone or Robert Plant's? And you're just like, and I ended up redoing all the vocals at my loft. I think I was we were a little freaked out. It was overwhelming, but it was one of the coolest experiences we've ever had as a band.
You left out the fact that the Stones did, some Exile on Main.
Exile on Main Street. Yeah. As a music nerd, I was definitely, I was just texting my dad the whole time, like, check it out, Toto.
So you mentioned redoing some of the vocals. You do some recording in your downtown loft.
Right.
You have neighbors.
Yeah, they have to think I'm crazy. I was actually really worried when I was recording the Holy Water vocals because it's a pretty loud vocal, and I was like, they have to think that I'm just absolutely insane, repeatedly yelling holy water over and over again. And this is a bit of a name drop, but for a minute, Gerard Dyson lived down the hallway from me.
Right.
And I was like, Gerard Dyson's going to think I'm crazy. He actually told me he got traded before the news broke, and I was like, why are you telling me this?
You just want to see me cry?
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, it's, the Royals. We could go on, right?
You're listening to Royals Radio.
Yeah.
With some music guys.
Yeah. But let's change the subject and get back to music with another song.
Awesome. Thanks, John. This song is called Had It All.
I had it all. the world is confused with nearly everything. Everything. Did we want more than we could stomach? All we ever did was wait. We would waste our time in the shadows. Waste our time. I had it all. Thought I had it all. Thought I had it all. Thought I had it all. I had it all. Thought I had it all. Thought I had it all. Thought I had it all. I saw the sky unwind. I saw the sky unwind. I give it up. I give it up. I give it up. I give it up.
Hembree in our studios today at the Bridge. Thanks for coming in again. This is just,
thank you, guys.
This is so much fun. So you were in that studio and you talked about, you just mentioned how sort of overwhelming it was to be in that space. You know, you feel the ghosts
Right.
in the room.
Absolutely.
And when you came back, my understanding is you just sort of put those sessions on hold, took a deep breath, and sort of had to get over the notion that everything had to be perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's totally right. And I think we were also, I don't know, we'd never had an opportunity like that and to work in a space like that. And I think there was this expectation of like, okay, we're working with our heroes on this. It's going to just automatically make it awesome. And that was, that wasn't exactly the result. Chris was incredible to work with. I hope we can work with him again. But I don't know that we were quite ready for that opportunity as a band, just because it was daunting and it was exciting. And in a way, I think excitement in a recording like can be really cool and it can translate to energy, but ours kind of just may have translated to us being a little frantic on the recordings and just not, you could feel that maybe we weren't the most comfortable just with the process because it was kind of our fault, I would say. We just weren't ready for that opportunity, and but it all worked out.
But you come back, you recognize what you felt in your heart, and you sort of tried to apply those lessons. And the first thing that came out of that was Holy Water.
Yeah, the song that definitely kind of started and changed everything for us. Because I just was I was a little stressed and overwhelmed being in that big and incredible studio, and there was something that was so great about just being at my house, like in my boxers, recording a song.
Bothering Gerard Dyson.
Yeah, exactly. Story gets weirder as it goes on, though. If he was bothered, he could just run away. Yeah, exactly. He's so fast.
Zoom.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So Holy Water. That song, not only was that the song that sort of grew out of this sense of putting life back into it, but you were also trying to answer some things that you were feeling in your heart at the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just being so frustrated with the way people have been being treated lately, and the song came out like November 15th, 2016. So you can
do the math.
You can do the math and figure out what I was feeling there. But also just so many people being hurt, innocent people that like deserve so much more. And I was just feeling, I think that a lot of people have been feeling just this overwhelming kind of like, what do I do? How do I contribute? And I could do a lot more. But that was just kind of the emotion that I was feeling at that point in time. And yeah, that's a wild song because it just kind of all poured out within like 4 hours. And I even sent the guys the demo and said like, here's this song that needs more lyrics, and more lyrics were never added. It's just like a couple simple lines, but Yeah, that song was just almost stream of consciousness, feeling pretty bummed about the state of things. And yeah, I just want people to be good to each other.
The thing that I thought was kind of interesting about the structure was that the verse is about the problem, and then the chorus, which is supposed to be the more fun part of the song, is about the answer, right?
Right, yeah, absolutely. And just kind of feeling all this tension, and you're just kind of like, when is this all going to burst? And so it definitely, the verse is totally just trying to call out to get people to be good to each other and, you know, treat each other equally and love each other, you know. And I hope that our music can help in the smallest way bring people together. And, you know, that who knows if it does, but I'm hoping it does.
So we talked about good things happening for the band. You know, Apple reaches out and wants to use your song in a commercial. I've seen it in the Super Bowl. I've seen it in the Grammys. I've seen it multiple times in the Olympics. So you guys are everywhere now.
Yeah, it's so bizarre and fun.
You know, you also have been accepted for a showcase at South by Southwest, which is not a small thing.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And I mean, and largely in part thanks to you guys for making that happen and pushing a Kansas City band for this NPR Slingshot thing. So, yeah, thank you to 909 The Bridge, because we wouldn't be playing that showcase without you all.
Well, we appreciate it, but when it comes to artists, all of the credit stays with the artist. It's a written rule here, I think. But yeah, Slingshot is a collaborative project from NPR Music, View House, and member stations like The Bridge. And the idea is to find acts that deserve an extra boost and to, as a system, try and lift bands of merit up.
Right.
And so we were as excited as we could be that Hembree represents Kansas City in Slingshot. So,
well, thanks. John. Yeah, we really love being from this city, and it's just so cool to be a small part of everything that's happening here, all the good stuff going on. I mean, we were in New York in November, and it's really fulfilling to be talking to people from New York, and they're finally like, hey, I heard Kansas City's pretty cool. I don't know if they've come and checked it out yet, but it's cool that at least to the coast, we're getting some hype. So
yeah.
Just being a part of that and trying to represent this city is something that we really enjoy.
Well, and it's not just any South by Southwest showcase. Y'all are playing at Stubbs, which is kind of great.
Yeah, because the food, you know. Yeah, we're thrilled about it. The beginning of this year has been a whirlwind. I can't believe we're only in the middle of February because a lot of the things that have happened have just happened over the last month and a half. And yeah, it's been a dream come true, and hopefully it just all continues.
You have got music on Apple Music, the iTunes A-list. That's their alternative playlist. And I don't know if you've checked recently, but what's your Spotify count on your biggest song?
We're close to the million club. We haven't quite reached it. So if you all would just go home and loop Holy Water on Spotify, get us in that 1 million club.
But it is closing in on a million plays.
Closing the gap. Maybe we could do this again, have a party. 1 million party.
Yeah, there you go. We would love to hear another song if we could.
Well, nice timing. This one's called Holy Water.
Fire, feel the light.
Hembree in our studios. Makes me want to go buy something at the Apple Store.
That was the most common question we got from the commercial do you guys get HomePods?
And the answer is?
Our manager said we could buy them. So no, we weren't given HomePods, but they look cool.
So one last question. Recording plans.
Yeah, we're kind of sorting through all that right now, and some of that is dictated by South by Southwest and other touring because everything kind of has to be happening all at once. But we're definitely trying to knock out the record this spring. It's pretty much written, and then it's just tracking it. And these guys are based in Chicago, so finding a way to get them involved and, just reeling them back to Kansas City to make this record. But yeah, hopefully this spring, and then figuring out exactly how it's going to come out. But we're very excited to get more music out to the world.
As are we. We cannot wait for anything you all want to do.
Oh, thanks, John.
Our guest today, Hembree. You can find out more at hembreemusic.com. Congratulations.
Thank you guys for everything. Thanks for having us. And thank you all for being here.
Hembree today on The Bridge.